No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
The star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
I don't think they're gonna buy it. I don't think they're gonna watch it. I don't think they're gonna like it. But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
This truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry.
She was, as woke as they are.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable. Spend 1 minute on Snow White and how it totally imploded at the box office this weekend.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White, right? You should shut up.
That the producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
They said Snow White was Walt Disney's most magical creation. The one fairy tale that kickstarted an entire empire of castles, princesses, and happily ever afters. But now, that very legacy is on the brink of chaos. How did a timeless story about a girl in the woods turn into a battleground for internet outrage and corporate panic? The shockwaves started the moment Disney hired rising star Rachel Zegler to lead a live-action remake that would, according to critics, reshape Snow White for the modern audience. And what happened next would change everything. When Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs first premiered in 1937, it was hailed as a groundbreaking phenomenon. Children and parents alike gasped at how the animated characters seemed so alive, bursting with color, heart, and wonder. This wasn't just a movie, it was a promise that Disney could capture our imaginations like nobody else. The forest animals, the dwarves with their quirky personalities, and those unforgettable songs formed the bedrock of what many fans still consider true Disney. For generations, people revisited Snow White not just as a cartoon, but as an experience of pure joy. The story's enduring influence didn't fade, even as Disney rolled out new princesses like Cinderella, Aurora, and Ariel. Decades later, that original Snow White still shone like a treasured gem. Yet, when whispers spread that a contemporary Snow White was about to shatter tradition, fans grew suspicious. Was Disney about to tarnish the movie that started it all? Determined to keep classic stories relevant for a younger crowd, Disney began reimagining its vault of animated hits as live-action spectacles. Some, like Beauty and the Beast, drew big box office numbers, though not without critique. The idea was straightforward: introduce iconic princesses to a modern generation, add a few twists, and watch the money roll in. But Snow White was different. There's a certain reverence around this character. She was the first, the blueprint for everything that followed. Then along came Rachel Zegler. She was lauded for her breakout role in West Side Story, and Disney saw her as the perfect face for a revamped Snow White. But once the actress started sharing her feminist perspective in interviews, calling the prince irrelevant and the original story awkward, it ignited a colossal uproar online. Many longtime fans felt the studio was toying with something sacred, twisting a classic into unrecognizable shapes for the sake of modern politics. It was supposed to be a big win for Disney, yet it quickly began to look like a ticking time bomb. That ticking time bomb went off the moment footage of Rachel's interviews circulated on social media. Her comments, which some interpreted as dismissive or even condescending, went viral, fueling arguments about whether Disney had lost respect for its own legacy. People posted side-by-side comparisons of the original Snow White's sweet innocence versus this new version's seemingly cynical tone. And that wasn't the whole story. Critics on YouTube, Twitter, and beyond started using the remake as an example of Disney's so-called identity politics. The dwarfs were apparently replaced, or CGI'd, in test footage. The love story was overshadowed by independent girl narratives, and the entire production looked like it cared more about messaging than magic. Discontent quickly reached the highest levels of the Disney Corporation, as top executives realized they might have a colossal flop on their hands, one that could tarnish the most iconic Disney princess ever. Behind closed doors, you can imagine Bob Iger and Disney's creative leads scrambling for solutions. Stories leaked about internal clashes, marketing felt blindsided by creative changes, and public relations teams struggled to spin interviews that kept backfiring. Even die-hard Disney loyalists were turning away. The old formula of "trust us, we're Disney" no longer worked when fans believed the studio was rewriting cherished characters. Disney tried to keep a lid on the turmoil, but rumors of test screenings were damning. Word was the film's tone felt too self-righteous and flat. Online fan communities pounced on the potential box office disaster in the making, pointing to other remakes that had also underperformed. Merchandise sales for this Snow White were reportedly weak from the outset. Stores prepped for a big push, but soon discovered there wasn't enough hype to fuel it. And that's when a new rumor surfaced. Disney might actually reboot Snow White again, even before the current project had its full release. Suddenly, it became official. Disney confirmed another live-action Snow White was entering development. The idea was to course-correct the creative direction before the brand's reputation took an irreversible hit. In essence, they were hitting the reset button on a movie that hadn't yet finished its promotional cycle. Insiders suggested that Disney was eager to wash its hands of any production overshadowed by negativity, especially a negativity that threatened the studio's decades-long trust with families. This new version, executives promised, would be faithful to the 1937 classic. They'd bring back the fairy tale romance, the whimsical dwarfs, the forest animals, and the core innocence that made the original so beloved. Already, chatter is swirling that legacy animators and composers, some of whom shaped Disney's Renaissance era, would be consulted for authenticity. It's a stunning 180-degree turn from the modernized approach, and a clear signal that Disney wants to rebuild fan confidence fast. With two Snow White projects now in the headlines, fans find themselves in a mix of shock, curiosity, and exhausted skepticism. Some see this next remake as a true chance at redemption, believing that Disney's new approach might correct the drift away from classic story values. Others, however, worry it's too little too late. Once trust is broken, can you really fix it by just pumping out another version? Meanwhile, the fallout continues for Rachel Zegler. Disney reportedly canceled her media appearances, and neither party seems eager to reignite the controversy in public. Online theorists say the studio wants no association between the new reboot and the old fiasco, effectively erasing all hints of a failed experiment. Regardless, the Snow White name will never be the same. People are left wondering if a once untouchable fairy tale is now tainted by corporate mishaps and Hollywood agendas. One thing is certain: merchandise lines, theme park revamps, and global marketing deals are all riding on the success of whichever Snow White emerges victorious. If the studio can't deliver a heartfelt, awe-inspiring film, they risk the entire foundation that Walt Disney built. But if they manage to revive that original enchantment, Snow White could become the symbol of Disney's grand revival. The moment they owned up to mistakes, listened to fans, and restored a fairy tale to its rightful glory. At the end of the day, Snow White is more than just another live-action adaptation. It's a battle for the soul of Disney itself, a test of whether the studio that once captured our childhood dreams can still create magic that transcends time. Will this second reboot truly feel like the fairy tale we all remember, or will it get lost in modern tinkering yet again? The answer could transform Disney's future. Thank you for watching Buzzed Celebs. If you found these behind-the-scenes revelations eye-opening, be sure to subscribe so you never miss our latest scoops. Give this video a thumbs up if you're excited or worried about where Snow White is heading. Most importantly, let us know in the comments. Do you think Disney can course correct and bring back that fairy tale wonder, or have they veered too far off track? Your thoughts could set the stage for Disney's next chapter.